Yes, people. Welcome back to another episode of L-Bins. Manchester City with a huge win yesterday. We've put the world on notice that we are here for the Premier League. Big up to everybody in the building, man. Smash these likes up on the way in. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel as well. Subscribe to Nobbins as well. Nobbins, bro, you was at the game. How was it, man?
Yeah, great. Lovely atmosphere. City fans normally tends to be up for it. Against Liverpool. It's probably our second biggest game of the season as an Etihad goer, I would say. And yeah, so we were up for it. There was lots of singing and chanting. It was really good. Great atmosphere, great vibes. Liverpool fans were shit, which was really funny. And yeah, it was just a really good time. Great vibes, great energy. And I felt like the players felt that as well. It was really good.
I felt good going into the game, which, to be honest with you, I've not felt like that going into a big game in a while. But I just felt with the two games prior in the lead up to this game, the Bournemouth game and the Dortmund game, I just felt coming into it, I just felt that we were ready. You know what I mean? Like, we spoke a lot about our record against big teams and it not being good since the treble year. And obviously that has to change at some point. That's not that just can't, carry on forever. But I just felt with those two wins, I felt like we was going to do it, man. You know what I'm saying? I just felt like coming into it, it was just, hey, yo, what the hell, bro? Mansour's just dropped a 20 bomb on the channel, man.
Is that the Mansour?
What, Sheikh Mansour?
Yeah, it must be with that generosity. Can we get W's in the chat for Mansour?
I'm not sure. Okay, good, P. Yo, big up to you, bro. Big up Mansour, man. W's in the chat. Big up W's in the chat for Mansour, man. All right, big up, man. That's a big donation, man. Big up for the 20 gifted. I would read them out for everyone, but that's a lot of people, man. So if you did get a gifted membership off Mansour, make sure you thanking him in the chat, bro. Well, big up to you, man. I hope you enjoyed the game. But now, you know what I'm saying, though? For me, yeah, I just think that we was ready. We've been waiting for this game. And this is why, for me, I've been saying we've been crying out for a win against one of these big teams for so long. Yeah. And I just felt going into it yesterday that was our time. Obviously, yeah, I was nervous. I'm not saying I wasn't nervous. Of course I was nervous. But did I feel like we was going to win? Yeah. Because the two games leading up to it, yeah, I thought were our two best games of the season. And crucially, I felt like Pep had found a stable team. When I look at Liverpool, I know they've won a couple of games, but I still don't think they're stable. I still come into that game thinking to myself, they don't look like a stable team. I think Pep got his tactics absolutely spot on. Yeah, I think the system, the players, not messing about with the starting 11 was perfect. The sub, Cherki off, Savinho on, I thought was great sub as well. I just think everything yesterday, we got absolutely spot on. The players on the pitch, pretty much everyone had a really good game, maybe by one or two with average performances. Pep was on it, you know what I mean? And I just felt that, like, you know what I mean? We deserved that. We deserve it. And I tweeted in the first half, I said, these are here for the taking today. And you know what? On another day, we could have put 4 or 5 past them on another day,
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm not going to say I was like overly confident, but I was quietly confident of us getting something from the game. I didn't think it was going to be as easy as it was in the end. I thought Liverpool were going to be a bit better than they were, but they did just have good games against Real Madrid and Aston Villa. They had tweaked it a little bit themselves, but I just felt that the way we played against Bournemouth, the setup, the way that we were able to outnumber Bournemouth's midfield, there was no reason why we couldn't do that to Liverpool's midfield, and that's exactly what we ended up doing. We played the exact same starting 11 against Bournemouth. We played the exact same formation as well, and we destroyed Liverpool in the same way that we bypassed Bournemouth. So it's great to see that what may be regarded as like this high risk lineup, which did have Cherki in it, for example, it's still one that Pep's comfortable and confident in going against these really dangerous sides in Bournemouth and Liverpool. So who knows who else it could be against. So yeah, I thought that Pep platformed the side perfectly. He identified the weaknesses of Liverpool perfectly. Lots of Liverpool fans, and indeed, to be fair, just a number of football fans generally, including City fans, were saying when the lineups were announced that, Liverpool are going to run through City's midfield like that. But just because your midfield isn't as strong / intense doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to lose the midfield battle. We know that, of course, if you have those sorts of players, it makes it a bit easier for you. But I was looking at our midfield. I was looking at the way that we play, how deep we play Bernardo and Foden, how we get Doku and Cherki narrow. And all I was thinking was, well, actually, we're going to outnumber their midfield, and it's going to be quite an easy time for City's midfield throughout the match. And that's exactly what happened against Bournemouth and indeed against Liverpool as well. So it was a fantastic performance by Pep, I thought, and every single one of our players, essentially.
Nah, we just it's been a long time since we've watched City play like that in a big game, innit? To be honest with you, like it's been a long time. Like you are going. I think you're going back to the treble year, really. Yeah, I mean, some people talk about Spurs or maybe Chelsea last year, but like I don't really think they're the same. I know Spurs was big, yeah, because obviously it was a big game, but like it's Spurs, you know what I mean? With all due respect, it ain't the City. They're not like I don't consider Spurs like an elite level, top level club. So for me, I think you got to go back to the treble year since you've seen like a win and a performance like that. And I mean, we were just dominating them, man. We were dominating them, to be honest, the whole game. And like I say, we could have had more on another day. We could have scored even more goals, but we got the job done. We got the 3 points, and that's put us right in it now. And I'm seeing rival fans now talking about City, and that's what we needed to do. Yeah, and we've been saying, haven't we? Like it's been quite nice going under the radar. But you can't go under the radar forever. Yeah, at some point you need to make your fucking mark and be like, yo, we're no longer under the radar. And I think we've gone under the radar for these first 11 games. Yeah, 10, 11 games, whatever it is. And I think we've gone under the radar a little bit. No one's really been speaking about us. Everyone's been speaking about Liverpool and Arsenal. And then yesterday, we've arrived at the party now. And, you know, I'm looking at this next game against Newcastle. They're not in great form. I seen their fan base on Twitter last night going mad at like all the players and Eddie Howe. Like some of them are calling Eddie Howe out as arrogant and shit. Like it's a mad. So we might be playing them at a good time, man. But it's just about kicking on now. But the belief as well, bro. I think the result. I think that gives the players a lot of belief. You know.
Yeah. How many times did we see last season adversity affects the players and then they absolutely capitulate and bottle it? I know that there was the dubious goal that Liverpool had. I just felt safe yesterday. And I don't think that was just because of Liverpool's lackluster attack. I do feel like that there's definitely been an evolution in the mindset for a lot of these players. Certainly the defenders who are now actually getting some protection from the forward press and the midfield as well. And if this matchup happens last season, then we almost certainly lose it based on that. But yeah, it's so good to see that there has been this sort of shift in the side. And I can't remember what did you say? Forgotten. You said something. What was your final thing?
The belief.
Yeah. I think that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the belief is there that hey, even if we do face some adversity, we can absolutely still be resolute and be strong. And I do think that it not only goes to the players, it goes to the fans, and it's like this sort of like echo chamber rebound effect. And we get performances like we saw yesterday from like certain individuals like Doku, where I would say it's his best ever. I'd say it's his best ever game.
I agree.
Never mind. Not just saying for City. I think just like in his career, it's probably his best ever game, and
it's definitely his best ever game for City. I know, like people will go, "Oh, the Bournemouth game," but if you actually watch the Bournemouth game highlights, yeah, he wasn't as good as yesterday. Like, you know, I mean,
I agree.
Just because you got 5 G&A doesn't mean you play better. Like, yeah, obviously the G&As are madness, but your overall play yesterday, he was just unstoppable. And you know what I mean? Coming up against Conor Bradley, you just pocketed Vinny Jr. You know, I don't rate Vinny Jr. that highly at the moment. I don't think he's I think it's the Ballon d'Or situation.
But he's not a bum.
He's not a bum. He's not a scrub player. But Conor Bradley basically handled him easy, man. The guy pocketed Vinny Jr. and Doku roasted him yesterday. Yeah, Conor Bradley's going to be having Jeremy Doku nightmares for weeks, man. Do you know what I mean? And everything's just massively improved with his game. His end product's improved. The consistency of take-ons has improved. And obviously, playing him in this more inside position as well, giving him that freedom. I mean, there was times yesterday that the guy was just walking over to the right-hand side. Obviously, Pep has literally said to him, like, you've got that freedom to do that. And that obviously then gives Nico O'Reilly space on the left-hand side as well when he pushes forward. So, I think this is something you've got to stick with now, Doku on that left-hand side, and keep allowing him to come in field. But he just causes havoc. Every time he gets the ball, he's just causing chaos. And I don't think teams know how to stop him, really. Do you know what I mean? And I think and this is why I say, for me, I'd be disappointed if Pep makes him go back on the left wing as an out-and-out left winger, because I think when you do that, you can double up on him and you force him down to the byline and you force him to cross the ball with a weak foot. Whereas when he is ball tucked in, it opens up that right-footed pass You know what I mean? Inside. How many times did he do that yesterday? He did it a number of times yesterday. So, nah, he's for me, like, I think obviously Elise is cooking there, but he's definitely got to be in the conversation at the moment for best winger in the world on current form. Maybe you'll give it Elise because he's got the numbers to back it up as well, but he's in a conversation, and now we just need consistency, but he's being pretty consistent at the moment. So long may that continue. But when you've got a play like that, man, it's tough, man.
Yeah, he's the definition of a game breaker. Even when he was doubled up on yesterday, there's that clip that's going around where I think it's Bradley and Gravenberch, and he just like goes through them like it's nothing. It's so funny.
Crazy, man.
I can't even comprehend how he's able to do that. He had Bradley cooking. He had Bradley on toast, whatever the term is, for days. But even Konate as well, and we know that Konate was going to be a potential weakness for Liverpool in the game, and that's like the third goal. Like Konate doesn't close him down tightly enough, and Doku just like makes the most of it. And he gets a shot to win. Of course, it's a beautiful finish. I mean, he was outletting Mo Salah, and like Salah is one of the best outlets in the Premier League, and Doku was doing a better job as being an outlet than him yesterday. So I think that just goes to show how wonderful he was. He was doing literally everything wonderfully well. He was dragging us up the pitch when we needed him to do it. He was just bombarding his way through Bradley, even if the dribble wasn't perfect and it like bounced up, he was still able to get through and bundle his way through. I think and that's not luck when it happens over and over again. It's more so Doku's strength and determination to get there and ahead of the defender every single time. He won the penalty as well. I think that's maybe like not being talked about so much that maybe should, whether it was a penalty or not. I've not seen the replay, but hey, he did win the penolty.
I think it was a penalty
as well. Yeah, I have not seen the replay, but I'll take your word for it. Yeah. So that was great as well. Yeah, brilliant stuff. It's so good to see that he can still be that, and he does still have to be really useful and functional when played at left wing, because we can't always play O'Reilly out wide for him. That can't always happen. So he does still have to be a useful touchline asset, and he still is that, because he was beating Bradley every single time. It's wonderful to see that he can be that multifaceted threat. He can still be a touchline winger, but he can still be this more narrow playmaker, if you will. And it's great to see. This is third season now. We did say that this season he did have to explode, if you will, and so it has come to pass. And I'm so happy that we didn't lose faith in him in the summer, and that the club kept with him, and now he's doing so well. So
not everybody didn't lose faith. I can't lie, bro.
No, sure, but I meant more like the club. To be fair, I'm sure. I know lots of fans didn't agree with me on that, but that's fine. But so hopefully, it just long may it continue, because he's been absolutely ridiculous in these big games as well. Against Liverpool, best player on the pitch. And against Arsenal, I would argue he was our best player on the pitch that day as well. These are very good against Arsenal games. These are big games to be the best player on the pitch, or one of the best anyway. So yeah, long may it continue. He's been wonderful. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah. And again, I know I always say this, right, chat, but I've got to mention it again, right? Because something that goes very, very, very underrated, like the media won't speak about it, but something that goes very underrated with Doku is just how much he gets stuck in on challenges. Yeah. Whenever we do the stats, he's always at the top. He's actually higher than the midfielders on ground duels, winning tackles and stuff. He always gets stuck in. He always gives 100%. And yesterday he was absolutely knackered, to be honest with you. And he had to come off because he was fucked, because he didn't stop running for the whole game. So now, let me continue. Let's see what he's saying, man. Going forward, hopefully he can keep this up, man. Built to Will, who says that team is the City team is a joy to watch again. It is a very good team to watch as well. It's enjoying, and considering last year was so bad, it is. It is enjoying.
So could I also just say that it's interesting that in a season where lots of people have been complaining about the rise of set pieces and really constricted play, it's just interesting that City have been the exact opposite of that this season, when we're normally criticised for making the league not attractive. I think if you look at City compared to the rest of the league, it's also we're trying to play lovely, intricate build-up football, whereas everyone else is being stinky with the corners. And
it's funny, I seen someone tweet yesterday, Nobbins. I said Haaland missed that penalty on purpose, so he only scored open play goals.
Yeah, it's 4D chess.
Yeah. Now big up Will, big up Perfecto as well. Says the passing from Donnarumma was surprisingly good. bro. It is.
His best game distribution wise, I felt.
Yeah, it's not been anywhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's been pretty decent, to be fair. What a difference he's made in that net, by the way, in terms of the presence that he's given the whole team, the defense. Obviously, you can't officially say what the impact is because you don't know whether Diaz has just got back to being good.
It is,
Diaz,
though, isn't it?
But I do think it is a large part down to Donnarumma. I just think he gives that defense a whole load of confidence, and that doesn't mean he won't make mistakes. He will, and he'll make some clangers. But over the course of the year, and the thing is as well, I said this yesterday on the panel show. I think you're going to start to see the impact of Donnarumma when you get into the Champions League knockout phase, because that's when the saves, which is what he's here for. I mean, I think he's here for the presence as well. I think that is one of the reasons why City bought him, because of that presence. But we obviously, he's a shot stopper. That's his game. I think when you get into that Champions League knockout stages and he starts making those saves, yeah, they're just so crucial. So big up Donnarumma, man. He's changed our world. I can't lie. Big up Virus as well. Says big up LB and Nobbins in the chat. That performance was great yesterday. Players stepping up their levels all over the pitch to prove people wrong. And you know what? That has kind of been that is kind of the storyline, isn't it? Really, of yesterday. There's a lot of players there yesterday who either people have doubted, myself included, or players that have played well in the last 6, 7, 8 weeks, but like yesterday was the test. Yesterday was the game where it was right. Okay, have we hyped these players up too much against okay teams, or are they actually going to deliver in the big games when everybody's watching? You know, I'm thinking of players like Nunes here. I'm thinking of players like Nico O'Reilly. I'm thinking of players like Nico Gonzalez. We've glazed these players over the last 4, 5, 6 weeks, correctly so, because they've been so good. But if then they drop stinkers yesterday, it would have been one of them where it's like, did we do too much? Did we do too much? And every single one of them, I thought Nico O'Reilly yesterday was absolutely fantastic. And I know people will talk about Salah being bad, and Salah was bad, but Nico O'Reilly contributed to that badness because of Salah couldn't get past him. He got past him like one time. Yeah, he couldn't get past him. The amount of tackles he did. Yeah, he was strong, and obviously he had a big part to play with that first goal. And by the way, he's not in a good situation there. Yeah, if you look at the way he's got his back to goal, he's facing the corner flag. He's got Salah on his back, and you know he's got a really difficult situation there. If he gives the ball away, we're in serious trouble. Obviously, he pops it off to I think Foden, doesn't he? He manages to get the ball to Foden, and we're away, and we end up scoring the goal. So that all came from Nico O'Reilly at the back as well. But yeah, Nunes great, Nico Gonzalez great. But that's basically the point, Nobbins, is that yesterday for me was the game where we're not looking at Haaland. We're not looking at these players. We know Haaland's going to do it. Yeah, we're looking at these players, these fringe players, or whatever you want to describe them as, is, okay, you've been good against the Dortmunds, the Bournemouths, the Brentfords, whatever. Good teams, yeah. But can you do it in a pressure cooker match against Liverpool when everybody in the world is watching this game? And they delivered.
Yeah, I think essentially everyone delivered, like the already established stars, and as you say there, the more players with the points to prove. O'Reilly had such a challenging job dealing with Salah, who, you know, some people he has obviously declined from last season, but he's still a massive threat, and O'Reilly handled him pretty comfortably. Nunes on that other side had a very easy time. That was mainly because he didn't really have anyone to actually take on, like, because Vert started at left wing and then sometimes popped up randomly in places where he shouldn't have been. And it wasn't like a Cherki thing where he pops up and actually helps the structure of the side. He was just popping up in random places, and it didn't seem to actually make any sense to me. So Nunes didn't have too much to do, but when he had to do it, he was really good there as well. Nico Gonzalez may as well have been Rodri yesterday. I'm comfortable in saying that was his best game for City, in my opinion. Even without the goal, he was absolutely wonderful. And
I think so as well.
And I've now got to this stage where, of course, I still want Rodri to come back into the side as quickly as possible because he is still Rodri. But I'm now no longer like that Dortmund game. I wasn't looking at, normally in the past, I would have looked at that Dortmund game and gone, oh my God, get Rodri some minutes immediately so we can start against Liverpool because we need him to start against Liverpool. Whereas last week, for the first time, I've been, Nico will handle it. Like he's been brilliant. So that's also fantastic to see that we actually have a vibe. We now are not so heavily reliant on Rodri. We now have someone to fill in his shoes. And I still think there's another level to Nico Gonzalez when Rodri comes back into the side as well. I think that his performances could go up a level. And that whole midfield generally, I think everyone deserves massive praise. Bernardo's been excellent. People in my chat yesterday were saying, he reminds me of like Vitinha's role, getting the ball off Donnarumma, and I agree. There's a very similar vibe there, and it's not created an imbalance that I was a bit concerned it might do, but so far it hasn't. I do think that's because of the setup Pep's gone for, but that's been fantastic to see. And Foden also, who doesn't need to be praised because obviously he's been fantastic this season, but he's just getting more and more comfortable in this 8 role. I mean, did you see him for the build up to the first goal? Like the clips that have been going around. O'Reilly's in trouble in the corner flag. Salah's on him. If you lose the ball there, you're going to have a bad time. Foden comes in, boop, and pressure is evaded. He was fantastic.
And he did a lot. There was a couple of people in the chat yesterday that said they thought Foden had a quiet game, and I said, because you're looking for Foden of like a few seasons ago, like the 4-peat year, where he's further up the pitch, getting more involved in creative side. I said yesterday, Foden did a different job. Yeah, he almost sacrificed the sort of plaudits in terms of the skills, the creativity, the shots. He did yesterday the hard yards midfield job. He was sat next to Nico Gonzalez and Bernardo Silva so much in that game. Yeah, putting challenges in, keeping things ticking over. I think he had a very, very underappreciated match yesterday, Foden. Yeah, I'm not trying to glaze because I'm not glazing. I genuinely believe that yesterday he put a massive shift in. I've seen a compilation this morning of him putting a massive tackle in on Florian Wirtz. Florian Wirtz was going down the right-hand side. He gets a big tackle in and sends Wirtz on the floor. Yeah, I think he had a very, very underappreciated match. I thought he put a shift in yesterday, but I thought everybody put a shift in, and I think the team's looking balanced, bro. When I'm watching the team, I mean, I'm so glad that Pep picked that starting 11, man, because for me, I was coming into this game thinking that's the starting 11 he needs to pick. Do not mess about with it, right? And you know what Pep's like? Sometimes he does like to mess about with things, doesn't he? He's done that a few times in his career. But yesterday he got that spot on, and I just think the team looks balanced. Yeah, and even the Cherki thing, obviously Cherki playing like a right wing, inverted, whatever you want to call it, still looks balanced, even though you've not got a natural right winger. You've got Nunes going forward, and I just felt like the whole thing just worked. Everybody knew what the job was. Yeah, and they all executed on it, and that was why I was confident coming into the game, because I felt like we were just more ready for the match than Liverpool were coming into the game. Yeah, Liverpool fans are still arguing with each other about who should play where, the starting 11, formation, tactics. Yeah, I'd say 95% of Manchester City fans yesterday saw that starting 11, and that was the starting 11 they picked. I mean, when the 11 came out yesterday at 3:15, I went on Twitter. How many people were tweeting yesterday when the team came out and said, yes, he's picked the team that I wanted? It was like, yeah, they picked the team that we all wanted. We all wanted that team. Yeah, and that's what he did. And it just working at the moment. And I said this just last night, yeah, I don't even think we're anywhere near our best right now. Nowhere near our best. I still think there's so much more to come from this team. Yeah, like you still got players like Reinders. Like, where does he fit in here? Cherki's, he's only started about 5 matches. I mean, there's so much more to come. But the key thing is here, Nobbins, yeah, this team is balanced.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the opposite of what Liverpool have been this season, hasn't it? They still, I think that, I don't want to speak for anyone else. I certainly underestimated how challenging it would be for them to embed all these new players. I guess I overestimated Slot's ability to do that. They still haven't found it, have they? Because their left winger is nowhere to be seen, because it's Wirtz and he's popping up at right wing and it's not really working. Isak is still got to come back into the side. How does he even get in for Liverpool when there's Ekitike there who's doing a great job? And yeah, conversely, there's us. And at the start of the season, yeah, okay, like maybe the balance wasn't there as much. Players were injured, coming back from injury, getting back into the side. We were having debates and conversations as fans about, it is a side that has both Cherki and Foden in it balanced. What do you have to sacrifice to do that? But the shape that Pep's come out with the double overlapping fullbacks, which I'm very happy about, because that's something that I advocated for in pre-season, it is working out really well. O'Reilly's been a revelation there in Aït-Nouri's absence, and we can have the chat about, like how on earth is Reinders going to get into the side? How on earth is Marmoush going to get into the side? The good point is that those are very good problems / questions to have. I would rather have these fantastic options because there are lots of games in the season, and as brilliant as Doku's been, he can't play every single game. Sometimes Marmoush will have to play instead of him, and it's and the same thing with the midfield. Foden can't play every single game. Sometimes Reinders will have to do that as well. These are relatively new players. There's no rush to get them properly into the starting 11 if they don't necessarily have to be. And again, it's a really good problem to have all of these offensive options. And I just think that hopefully in the new year, it will click for a lot of them and we'll be an even sterner force in this league. I do think that, I'll keep repeating it, there is definitely a side that can win the Premier League. And as the weeks go by, I become more and more convinced of that. More and more convinced of that. I just wonder, is it a season too soon? That's my only question. But I really think there is one that can.
Yes.
Can put emphasis on can.
That's the key. That is the key. I think we discussed this on the panel show last night with the lads in that. Can you see a team that can win the league? And I can see a team that can win the league. And like you say, will we? Don't know. You know what I mean? I'm looking at Liverpool right now. The thing is, right, it's still early days. Yeah, we're still in November. And I'd argue, I see people writing off Liverpool. I don't think Liverpool are out of the race. Yeah, I still think they're in there. They could win the next 10 games and they're right back in it. But from a City point of view, I just think now we're starting to get going. Yeah. And I think actually the international break is great for us. Because I think now it allows us to absorb this sort of confidence and self-confidence in beating Liverpool rather than sometimes you want to go bang, bang, bang. Yeah. Especially after a loss. Yeah. You never want to wait after a loss. That's why I never agree with people when teams like United are in Europe and they say, well, we're not in Europe now, we can focus on the Premier League. I actually think that's horrendous because when you lose a game, you're literally sitting there for a week. I mean, how many times have we lost a match before international break and you sit there for 2 weeks and it's horrible? Yeah. Sometimes you want to go bang, 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 game every 3 days. Yeah. But sometimes when you've just had such a monumental win against a big rival, especially when we've struggled against rivals for 2 years, I think it's good sometimes just to absorb that. And I think this international break is perfect for us now. We can chill out. Yeah. Players can go and do their thing with international breaks. So some players will have rests. Nico Gonzalez, Rodri. These guys aren't going to play football for the next 2 weeks because they're not in the squad. That's great for us as well. There'll be a couple of others in the City squad like that as well. And then we can come back. And obviously that game at St. James's Park in 2 weeks is absolutely massive. Yeah, because if we go there and win, oh mate, it's on. Especially if you look at Arsenal's fixtures now, they got some tough games coming up. Tottenham, Chelsea, Villa, Brentford. Yeah, they got some tough games after this St. James's Park game. Yeah, it's a little bit tough. It gets a little bit easier for us. Again, standard caveats. Yeah, no game's easy in the Premier League, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, in terms of the legitness of what I'm saying, it is true. Our games do get a bit easier after that Newcastle game. So I just think it's good now for everybody just to chill. We can absorb the win because it's been a long 2 years since we've had a win like that. It really, really has. And, I just think that the balance in the team is nice. And, Nico Gonzalez, man, we're gonna have to do a little bit of a segment on him as well, bro, because these performing. You touched on it earlier. You said, in fact, I can't exactly remember what you said, but you basically said like Rodri not being there, you're not too worried anymore. And I was the same before the game yesterday. I said to the chat before the game kicked off, I said I'm not worried that Rodri's not in the team anymore, and he put in another sublime performance. I actually can't believe just how good these performance levels are. Do you know what I mean? Because, like I say, last year, I liked Nico Gonzalez. I wanted him in the team, and when he didn't play, I was pissed off. I couldn't believe he didn't play the FA Cup final. And when he wasn't in the team, I was really frustrated. But I struggled to see past a squad rotation player, which is cool. No problem. Like, you need squad rotation players in your side. But I when I watched him, I thought he's going to be a squad rotational player and he's going to be a good squad rotational player. But the performances that he's putting in now are not squad rotational performances. Their first team, you're battling with Rodri performances. Now I want to ask you a question because when you did your Nico Gonzalez scouting video, you were very, very, very impressed with what you saw.
Yes.
When you did your research.
Yes.
Did you honestly believe that he had this? Did you or did you see it?
I'm a genius and I saw it. No. I did not see it this quickly. Let's say that, and I don't think I saw it at all. In fairness, I'm staggered at the escalation in his game. I'm amazed we signed in January of this year and it's now November, and I think that's our best Rodri-less performance in however, I don't know, since I guess like Fernandinho was at the club maybe. Like I don't know how far back I'd have to go to have a better Rodri-less performance than that. I'm not surprised at, I guess, his ability to play as a defensive midfielder fundamentally, because that, even though that's not what he did at Porto, that is what he was brought up in La Masia. But I am really taken aback at how quickly he's been able to adapt. And it's
the speed, isn't it?
Yeah. And was it you or was it Pep? I can't. Classic misunderstanding. Was it Elby who said this, or was it Guardiola who said this? No, indeed, yeah. I can't remember
as far as it stretches.
No, but I literally can't remember which one of you said it. But someone said Nico is incredibly coachable. Like, don't know if it was you who said that or Pep who said that.
Pep said it. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So, in that's so obvious, isn't it? That it's not a coincidence that every single week, like, he's just getting better and better and better. We know that Guardiola wouldn't be coaching a player who he feels isn't able to do what he's being asked, being what's asked of him. But it's every single week. Like, he's now adding, and I don't know why, but his first game, I can't remember his first game. I think it was like Huddersfield or something, or was it? It was some lower leagues, Leyton Orient. It was some lower league side. I can't recall. And he did this lovely switch from defensive midfield out to the right wing. I can't remember who it was. It might have been, I don't know who it was. And I was like, yes, those are the Rodri switches. We need those. And then we never really saw them again. And that was very upsetting. I was like, oh, what's going on? I need my switches back. And we're now seeing that being brought back into his game as well. Like, he hit a couple of amazing switches yesterday, I think, for the first goal and even for the third goal as well. That's a classic Rodri trait. He's adding the Rodri goals as well. You can talk about it being a fortunate deflection, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So you might as well go for it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I didn't. And that's the thing. I was big on Nico in my analysis video. I went pretty hard on my rating of him, but I had no idea that he was going to be this good this quickly. I said at the time that, and I thought I was being hyperbolic at the time. I said, this is arguably the most important signing of the transfer window because of the long-term implications. But it's not even long-term implications. It's actually short to medium term.
Because we couldn't afford to get that one wrong. I mean, we'd already done 40 million on Phillips, 50 million on Nunes, and this was another 50 million. We literally couldn't afford to get this one wrong, and especially with how bad we were without Rodri. And like I say, like, when he come in last year, he did a good job. So much so that when Pep didn't play him, most of us, maybe not everybody, but most of us were frustrated that Pep wasn't playing him. And I know actually in the end, we actually started winning games without him in the team. And people might say, well, we were winning without him. That's probably why I didn't put him in. But I still wanted him in the team. Just because you're winning doesn't mean I don't want to put someone else in the team. Mm-hmm. But like you're saying, mate, like, the levels, I never thought he'd have these levels in these. Because again, like, people can't be like shameless or whatever. These are incredible levels. Like, he's literally one of the best DMs probably in the world right now on current form. That's just not fucking normal, mate, based off of what we saw last year. Like, if he was just all right, and we were like, yeah, he's all right. I mean, he's improved since last year. He's all right. Yeah, cool, I get it. But the speed in which he's got to these levels, combined with the levels being so high in which he's literally performing like one of the best DMs in the world right now, it's just absolutely. I'm not saying he is the best DM in the world. I'm not saying that. I can't even be asked having a conversation. It's not what I'm trying to say. The point is, he's at such a high level, and this, like Nobbins is saying, the speed in which that has happened, he is so coachable. Yeah, and obviously, I mean, if we're being honest with you, he's learning off Rodri and he's learning off Pep Guardiola.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
pretty good teachers.
Pretty good teachers, you know what I mean, for that DM midfield position. So if you are open to being coached and you're willing to listen, improve, then you. I mean, I don't know if there's ever been a DM that's had two players like that to learn off. You know what I mean? Rodri and Pep Guardiola. Yeah, because I think people forget just how good Pep Guardiola was as a player. Now, I never seen him. Yeah, but when you listen to people who did watch him back in the day, yeah, he was a very, very good footballer by all accounts. Again, I never seen him play. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's crazy, and you know what it is as well. It's a relief, bro, because this has been hanging over us for years. For years, because we've not had. I mean, the last time. When was the last time we had like a legit D? I mean, obviously in the treble year and the year before that we had Gundogan, but even then, I felt like Gundogan in the treble year, it was coming to an end, weren't it? That six. You know, when Gundogan used to play the six and deputise for Rodri. And I mean, I remember when we played United at home and we beat him 6-3, and Gundogan played at six that day. And people in the chat, I remember people in the chat going, "This is going to be horrendous, Gundogan in the six." I was like, Gundogan can play the six, but the fact was it was coming to an end because obviously the guy was getting. So this has been hanging over for us for years. 4-Pete, not solved. Last year, not solved. And it's just a massive weight off our shoulders that we can finally breathe when. I mean, it's not normal that when a midfielder, your DM, gets injured, you're basically going into the game thinking, we'll be lucky to get a point here. Do you know what I mean? And that has finally gone. So yeah, I mean, how do you think we move forward here? Because that's the big question, really, I guess. And it is how does Manchester City, how does Pep Guardiola move forward with Nico Gonzalez, with Rodri, with Bernardo Silva? Because I guess the options really is Nico Rodri, Nico Bernardo, or Rodri Bernardo. I mean, does it depend on the game, or is it? I don't know. Basically, what I'm trying to get is like the sort of Bernardo Silva Nico thing. Is that just going to be Nico Rodri going forward, do you think, in big games?
It is definitely game dependent, isn't it? You mentioned it before that Nico's not he's not putting in.
Oh, am I lagging? Have I lagged? Or is that him? Chat, who's lagged? Me or Nobbins? Someone's lagged out. I don't know who it is. Is it me or is it Nobbins? It's Nobbins. Oh my God, it's not my internet for once. Yeah, it's not my fucking internet. Boom. Hey, I thought it was me again. Hey, my internet's holding up, bruv. Yeah. I sort your connection out, Nobbins. Sort your connection out. I thought it was me then as well. I thought, oh, fuck, I'm going to have to restart my router and that. It's not me. It's not me. Hold that. Actually, it's a bit annoying because he was mid-flow. But yeah, chat, he's obviously going to come back in a minute. You let me know in the chat what you guys are saying on that. Because for me, yeah, I want to see Rodri, Nico G in a game. I kind of want to see it at Newcastle. But then at the same time, why change what's working at Newcastle? Maybe we should, but when do you try it? When do we try it? Let me pull up the fixtures here, boys, yeah? Let me pull up the fixtures here. We can have a look. Matches. Right, share screen. Let's have a look at the fixtures here. When do we try Rodri, Nico Gonzalez, boys? When do we try it? Newcastle away. Leverkusen at home. Champions League game. Big Champions League game. You win that, you're pretty much qualified. Leeds, but then is that a little bit too negative? Nico G and Rodri. Fulham away. Maybe dissimilar. Do you wait all the way to the Bernabeu? You wait another month? What are you guys saying? Leeds at home. Do you not think it's a bit negative for Leeds at home, though? Not think there's not enough creativity?
Hello. Sorry about that. I think I accidentally kicked the power button of my computer.
Oh, well, in that case, that was a rapid restart, bro.
I can be quick when I want to be. If you know, you know.
No. So yeah, what do you think then? Because basically, I want to know, when are we testing out Rodri, Nico G? Because I want to see it. I just don't know when. Like in my head, I feel like Newcastle's the perfect game to try it, yeah, because of their midfield three. Their midfield three is like, you know, very, very physical and powerful. But then I also think, why would I change a midfield that's working? Don't wait for Leverkusen. Leverkusen could be a good game actually to try that Rodri, Nico G out, you know. I don't know. What do you think? You was mid-flow.
Yeah, sorry. Well, I think what I was saying was how you mentioned that Nico's putting in performances that aren't of a squad level player. They are of a player who is a starter in a City side. And I'm very, very confident that it doesn't always have to be a case of do you play one of Rodri or Nico. Nico's too good to not play him sometimes. And if we're having a situation where Rodri is available for the vast majority of the season in Rodri, then you can't have Nico chilling on the bench. Thankfully, we know he doesn't have to do that because he can play as Nate, of course. I don't think thankfully, going back to what I was saying earlier about I feel safe with Nico, there is, in my opinion, no need to rush. And what we should probably be doing is picking maybe a home game. When do we play Galatasaray? That might be too late.
I think that's quite far away. That's in next year, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that's 28th of January.
So maybe not that game exactly, but I feel like what I don't want us to do is go hard Premier League game. Right, let's run Nico Rodri together for the first time.
Yeah. So you're saying no in the Newcastle game.
That it would be a concern for me because we are fixing something that isn't broken right now. And if we had a fully fit Rodri, and if we had a sample size and evidence of Rodri and Nico working together, then absolutely that would be a great game to go for it. But the context of where our players are at, the context of us not having seen it enough, I don't think we've ever seen it with them starting yet, tells me that that's probably not the game to go for it. So if actually, sounds counterintuitive, but I think we should actually punt for it, at least in the first instance, in an easier game, preferably at home, preferably in a Champions League game. But I don't know if that's going to be possible given the run.
I think the Leverkusen game's the one for me. I think you're at home, Leverkusen. You're not going to be able to play Bernardo Silva, in my opinion, in Newcastle away, and then you back him into the Leverkusen game. That's probably not going to work. So maybe you go to Newcastle, you play the same midfield as you played yesterday, right? Or the double pivot, right? Whatever you want to do in Cherki folder, right? Not bothered yet. But in terms of that double pivot, you go Nico G Bernardo against Newcastle. And then Leverkusen at home, Champions League game. Maybe you go Rodri and Nico G there, and then you're trying that as well before you go to the Bernabeu later on, which is again a game where you might want to go. You might listen. It might not work. You might play Nico G and Rodri. It might just be unbalanced. You don't know it's going to work. I mean, I think it will work. Because this is the thing, right? I've got to ask you this. Someone in the chat yesterday, and I think it's a fair point, but I sort of don't fully agree. Is someone in the chat yesterday said it reminds them of Zubimendi and Rice, and the problem with Zubimendi and Rice is it's not creative enough. The difference is with Rodri and Nico G. Even though I understand the comparison, Rodri is more creative than Zubimendi and Rice, and Nico G is naturally an 8. So he should be, I don't know, again, we've not really seen him in that position at Manchester City. We've only really seen him in the 6, so we don't really fully know at the moment. But he should be semi-decent at creating because he's an 8 anyway. So that's part of it. That's part of a game when you're an 8. Part of your responsibilities is to create some stuff. So while I hear it, I don't think you're considering the fact that Rodri is more creative than Arsenal's DM, and Nico G is naturally an 8. So I think it would work. So I think Leverkusen's the game to test it.
Yeah, I mean, we know that Nico, Bernardo, Foden works as a concept. We've seen it work numerous times. No one's gone, there's not enough creativity there because we scored plenty of goals doing that. I think have we seen that twice? Maybe we've seen it more, to be fair. We've certainly seen it at least twice. We scored 6 goals from it. Certainly more recently against Bournemouth and Liverpool, and we may have even seen it even more then. And Nico Bernardo, just as an individual pairing, if we're just looking at creativity for a moment, is inferior to Rodri Nico. I'm not saying it's necessarily a stronger midfield, but if all you're concerned about is the creativity metric or the individual creative nature of the players, Rodri and Nico would be better than Bernardo and Nico. So I don't think it's a problem because we know that we can create from all avenues. When you've got Doku, you've got Foden, Cherki, the fullbacks also. I don't think it's a problem. Rodri is a fantastic creator in his own right. And if you play Nico more advanced, then you're going to see him flourish more so with that, because he's going to have less defensive responsibility. He's going to be focused more so on going forwards and carrying the ball and creating like that. So I don't think there's a problem, RE creativity for me with that pairing. I don't think so.
I don't. Yeah, Leverkusen. I try it Leverkusen chat. I don't know about you guys. Let's have a look what the chat's saying. Yo, big up to Abu. Sorry, I didn't see this. The only bad player in our team yesterday was Gvardiol, in my opinion. I thought Gvardiol was all right. I give him a 6 on the player ratings. I thought he defended quite well. I just thought he'd give away some really sloppy passes.
Yeah.
And I'm still absolutely convinced that he's just absolutely knackered right now. And I think he needs a bit. The problem is, when do you give him a break? Because you don't want to disrupt this Diaz-Gvardiol partnership, which seems to be working. Maybe after the Newcastle game, maybe
it Leeds after that.
Yeah, you got Newcastle, Leverkusen, Leeds, Fulham. Now, I think really, maybe you could rest him against Leverkusen and play Stones Diaz as well.
Yeah,
and then rest him against Leeds. Leeds at home as well. Maybe you could give him 2 games out there and give him like a full 2 weeks off. Maybe. I just think the guy needs a bit of a break, but. Yeah, I don't think I thought he actually defended quite well. I thought it was just the sloppy passes that was.
That was upsetting, and it didn't help that his the other contingents of his back line were amazing. Like, it didn't help that he was playing alongside Diaz, who looked brilliant, and O'Reilly, who looked brilliant, and Nunes also. So I think that just highlighted the errors when no one else is really making one.
Yeah. Nah, big up running as well with a chat. Big up to you, bro. I appreciate it, man. Tom says, why are we obsessed trying out Nico and Rodri together? They are only 3 CDMs. The system works with the 2. Rodri will probably never fully recover and cannot do the workload he did.
Because there might be some games where you want to play them both.
Yeah, you might want to play them both, bro. You know what I mean? Especially in like the big away games. You know what I mean? Where like you go into a tough ground and like it's going to be hard. I think so. To do that. So, and the thing is, right? If you're saying you don't think he'll recover, that means that Rodri's going to have to be next to somebody anyway, right? And therefore, would you want Nico next to him, or you want Bernardo Silva next to him? Because for me, Nico Gonzalez will be better going forward than Bernardo Silva anyway. So, and again, bro, I'm not saying it's going to work, Tom. I don't know. You might play them both together, Rodri and Nico, and it might just not work. It might be unbalanced. It might not be creative enough. Who knows, yeah? But I think we should try it out. I think we should try it out. It might be a cheat code. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We move on. We go back to Rodri, Bernardo, Nico, whatever. But I think we've got to try it. You got to experiment stuff.
I'd rather have options than not.
Options, man. That's the word of 2025, 2026 season, bro. Yeah. Options. Last year, 0 options, man. Yeah.
0.
No, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Let's see what you guys in the chat are saying, man. Is there anything else you picked up from yesterday, bro, that we've not discussed?
It just there was just lots of echoings of the Bournemouth performance, I suppose. I think that we've discussed basically everything. I guess like Cherki didn't have as positive a game as he did against Bournemouth, but that's because Liverpool gave us less space. So some people are saying that Cherki played badly. I wouldn't go that far. I felt that it was the right call to take him off. It just wasn't particularly great, but that's fine. I thought he was just fine. He can't have a great game all the time. It's not a problem. He's still, at the end of the day, he's an experienced player, but he's still a young player. He's still getting accustomed to the side. I don't have a problem with that at all. Anything else to discuss? No, I think we've already. I think we covered essentially all of it. I guess we could have spoken a bit more about Foden's deeper role, but I think we've done everything essentially.
Let me ask you then about Pep Guardiola, because to me, he seems on it this year. I feel like he's got a bit of a spark back. I said it in the summer after the season ended. I think that is Pep Guardiola's toughest season in management. The stuff that he had to deal with, the captain leaving in January, the injuries, rumored player sort of like argue with each other and that kind of shit. And you had Bernardo Silva come out and say he's found out which players he can go to war with, all that kind of shit, right? You know what I'm talking about. Pep this year, what have you made of him? Because I think he's getting a lot of things right this year. And I know there was a lot of criticism on him last year from a lot of fans. I thought harsh because even though, yes, he did make mistakes, I think his hands were tied. And I don't think this is why I said I can't wait for the book to come out, the next book, where we find out what happened last season, because I think it's going to shock a lot of people. You had the Grealish thing in December. What happened there? We all know something happened. We don't know what. You had Kyle Walker leaving in January, right? All these things happened last year. You had all the injuries, and I just think that I get it, right? Because obviously he did make mistakes in that, but I just feel that people wasn't looking at the bigger picture. Whereas this season, he seems to be getting everything right, mate. There's very little stuff that he's getting right. And I thought yesterday he got everything spot on. I thought the Cherki Savinho sub was spot on. Putting Marmoush on at the end just to run around and give us a little bit more energy. Doku was cooked at that point. I was knackered. Pep, what's your thoughts on him so far this season?
Yeah, he's been fantastic for the most part, I would say, and it's no surprise that he struggled last season because the squad building was just not there. The squad was inherently flawed. We how many times did we say the squad is broken, and there's only so much that Pep can do. Like we knew that ground covering was a problem in midfield, but you can't coach Kovacic and Gundogan Bernardo to be better space eaters. That's just not something that you can do. It's Nunes has been greater right back, but he just clearly was never going to work in midfield. It was a failing. There were some failings of Pep, I think, last season, but I still put it mainly down to the failing of the squad building. And hey, if Pep was involved in the squad building, then that's more his failings than the tactics. But yeah, this season he's given options, and he seems to continue to make the correct decisions with those options. I think that certain blueprints from last season, of course, I'm not trying to say like last season was a silver lining or anything, because it wasn't very good, but there were some little blueprints from last season which we're now seeing, and ideas from last season which we're now seeing come to full fruition this season from Pep. Like we knew that Pep had a very clear idea as to what he wanted to do last season, but he couldn't do it because of multiple injuries, because of absentees, because of squad building. Whereas this season, he's gone for it, and it actually has paid off. So, yeah, I've been very happy with him, and hopefully he continues to be motivated and driven, and hopefully signs another cheeky contract extension, because I don't want him to go.
Yeah. No, and you're on the money there with the midfield last year. He didn't have options. Do you know what I mean? Now he's got so many options all over the pitch. I mean, if you look at the options, he's got that left back, Nico or Reinhard Nori. Right back, he's got Nunes playing out of his skin, or you can play a little bit more of a solidified Huzanov, although Nunes is pretty solid at the moment anyway. Defense, Gavadio, Diaz, Huzanov, Stones, Ake, they're all fit, which is amazing. You got Nico G or Rodri. We're now discussing, should Rodri play against Newcastle? If this was last season, there wouldn't be a question. It'd be yes, you got to risk him. You got Doku on the left now. Marmoush is now holding bench. He's got to get his game up. Yeah, the only real thing for me now is, who plays next to Nico G? Yeah. And what's our sort of more long-term right wing option? Is it Cherki inverting? Is it Savinho? Does he get his game up? That's it. But other than that, but again, that's options. Yeah, this is what you need. You can't win stuff if you don't have options, because you need players pushing each other to get better and better and better. And we've got that now, which is fantastic. And I just think Pep's getting a lot right this year. And yeah, obviously he's not made a few mistakes. I thought Tottenham lineup, we spoke about that. The Villa lineup, we spoke about that. I'm not saying he's got everything right, but that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? He's not going to get everything perfect. But I'm just saying the majority of decisions, he's got right. The majority of decisions he's getting right. And he seems on it, man. When you watch him in like press conferences and post-match interviews, like last year, we all seen how stressed he was. Fucking hell. Do you know what I mean? After that fucking Lisbon game, Jesus. I was seriously worried about him after that Lisbon game. I was like, yo, what the fuck is going on here, bro? Bro, they literally, one of the TV platforms literally spoke to a psychiatrist, bro, and like literally like put that out on and like said, yo, that what you're saying, innit? You know what I mean? Is he all right? And I was like, bro, it was bad, bro. You know what I mean? He had all those marks over his head and shit, and like he was saying mad things. It was like, yo, what's going on? But yeah, this season, man, he seems on it, and the team's responding. But I'm telling you, man, now, people don't appreciate just how hard it was for Pep last year. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, when the next book comes out, when the next book comes out, you're all gonna be stunned, man. I think some mad shit's gonna come out about last year, bro.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, it wasn't just like isolated to Pep either, was it? There was I think it came out at the start of this season or in the summer that there were lots of City players who felt last season that they were a bit confused as to like some instructions from like assistant coaches and whatnot, and just like other members of the coaching staff, not necessarily Guardiola. And you've mentioned the whole Grealish thing, the Walker thing, lots of other players that we knew were having either like physical problems or mental issues, and all of that happened in like this perfect shitstorm combined with poor squad building, and it led to a season where we were still able to finish third, which isn't necessarily the worst.
I know,
ever,
which is why I said in the summer when people was predicting City to finish 5th and 6th and 7th.
That was a madness. How are we going to get worse?
Like, how are we going to go from the worst team that City have had in a decade with major injuries all over the gaff to spending 300 million, bringing in midfielder of the year, Serie A, bringing in Cherki, bringing in bringing in these players, completely, and getting, how did anyone think that was ever going to happen? All right, maybe you didn't think City was going to win the league or whatever. Maybe you thought we'd stay third. Okay, whatever, that's a fine prediction if you think we're going to stay third. But to go backwards, that's crazy. And you know what's mad, bro? Last season, City lost 9 games in the Premier League. Liverpool have already lost 5.
Yeah, it's mad. They haven't got a draw yet, have they?
No. How crazy is that though, bro? Like, because I consider last year like a fucking disaster. Like, you know what I mean? I thought it was a fucking shocking, and obviously Pep said the same thing, how bad it was. And like I'm saying, that was and they've just held 5 Premier League losses, and we're at the start of November already. This is worse than what we were doing. I know, like that our run 1 winning 14, comps is currently worse than theirs, but they're currently still on their fucking run. But it's like their current Premier League form is worse than ours, and I can't get my head around that because I'm like, yo, we were bad. We were very fucking bad,
and they had big investments as well. And we said the squad building. Who did we bring in? Gundogan, Savio. That was it, right?
A young kid who needed time, and Gundogan, who was meant to come in and play last 20 minutes of every game. That's what he was meant to do, wasn't it? Gundogan last year. He came in and Pep basically said to him, "Yo, you just come in, last 20 minutes, see it out." Yeah. And then fucking Rodri got injured. It's like, yo, how are those legs, bro? We need you for 60 minutes. Box to box player. Yeah, that was
no,
crazy.
exactly. There's less of an excuse for Liverpool having spent however much money on Frimpong, Kyrgios, Wirtz, Isak, Ekitike. I'm sure I've missed someone there. It's not a comparable situation, so I've got a lot less sympathy for Liverpool.
Yeah, here's a question for you, bro. Before we wrap up, what was your worst 2025 meltdown comment?
I don't know if it was in 2025, but can I just count that season?
Yeah. 2025.
So the worst one is it was the Feyenoord game.
Okay.
Where we went 3-0 up and then
yeah.
You know the one.
I'll never forget that game. Yeah, okay.
Yes, Sky and T-Brain. And we were 3-0 up, of course, and Foden went off when we were 3-0 up.
Yeah.
So he went off, so he was substituted.
Yeah.
And then we draw the game 3-0. And after the game, this person in my live chat said, "This is all Foden's fault. Should have done better. Should have taken the game by the scruff of the neck and imposed himself more in the game."
That was interesting.
And I was like, my lad, he wasn't on the pitch when the capitulation was going on. What's occurring? So I'd probably say that one because that was just the most insane bit of like cognitive dissonance I've ever seen. I'd probably go for that. How about you?
Yeah. Well, my meltdown was not really a meltdown. It was more of a suggestion of signing Edin Dzeko in January.
Oh, sorry. Did you want what was my meltdown? Sorry, I thought you like.
Just like a comment or something that you said.
Oh, sorry, that I said. Oh,
you must have said something bad because we was in the trenches, bro.
I was with you on the Edin Dzeko stuff. I didn't hate that as an idea, though. To be fair,
I actually thought, right? If you think about it, chat, and let me just throw this out in. Now that we're out the mud, let me just throw it out there again, right? obviously we had a situation where we didn't have a striker at this point because we'd not signed Marmoush, yeah? And Haaland, obviously, I think, was picking up a few injuries. And I was just thinking to myself, right, you can get this guy in, free transfer, stick him in the box, and just say, stand in the box and just put the ball in the box, put the ball in the net when you get it. I honestly didn't think it was a bad idea, yeah? However, like, granted, yeah, listen, the Chalobah one, yeah, is a little bit of a you guys taking that to the extremes, right? Because I said bring him in as a 5th choice centre-back, extreme cover, in which case that would have been a good suggestion because in the end they all got injured. Yeah, but fairs, it's probably still another stinky one. But yeah, also Douglas Luiz was a bad shout as well. That was a fucking terrible shout. But when you're in the mud, you say mad shit, you know.
Yeah, you're desperate.
You must have had one bad suggestion though. You must have one thing that you said like as a suggestion that City should do, or a tactical, or a play that we should sign.
Well, I guess I kept trying to push for the idea of Nunes playing centrally, and we know that he can't really do that. So I guess that's a bad thing to say because we know that he can't really play midfield. But I did really want him to play centrally last season.
To be fair though, that would have probably been better than what we had last year.
I don't know.
Like that until we signed Nico Gonzalez, I still think that would have been better than playing Kovacic, Bernardo, and Gundogan as a midfield 3, 100%.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know then. I don't know then. To be fair, I'm sure I said.
I'm sure your chat will remember.
I'm sure I said something mad.
Yeah, I was probably receipts, bro.
I was probably most angry at the game at Anfield because I hated the way Pep set up, but I think that was justified rage. So I don't. We played like Rico Lewis right wing.
Oh yeah.
And like Nunes left wing, and it was really weird, and I hated it.
You know what's mad, right? Is when you look back at starting 11s from last year. Some guy did it to me yesterday in the chat. He said, "LB, bring up this game, yeah, from last year, and have a look at the starting 11." And I looked at it, and it was horrific, bro. I can't remember what game. It might have been Liverpool, actually. No, it was Liverpool. Was it Liverpool away yesterday, chat? That guy got me to get the starting 11 up on and I think it was Liverpool away last year.
It was horrendous.
Yeah, was it the one with Ortega in there?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, we had Nunes left wing, Rico Lewis, I think right wing, Foden, Foden attacking midfield, Haaland, and then I think probably Gundogan and maybe Kovacic. It was horrendous. It was horrendous.
When you say that, some guy yesterday in the chat was like, "LB, look at the starting 11 from last year against Liverpool." I pulled it up. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, that was horror.
Like, it is bad. It was bad, man. It was crazy, bro. Yeah, it was some mad. I listened. Last year was crazy, man. We'll never forget last year. Yeah.
No.
You'll never forget that. Trust me. Like 20 years time, you will always remember that year. You'll never forget it. 2024, 2025 for bad reasons. Yeah, you'll never ever forget it. And to think as well, we could have scammed an FA Cup. Imagine if we would have won the FA Cup last year.
Right?
That would have been the biggest scammery of all time, considering how bad we were last year. Like the thing is, we probably should have won it because we missed a pen. They should have had a man sent off.
Yeah, we got robbed in that final. Let's be honest.
We actually got robbed. But if we won the FA Cup last year with how bad we are, I would have felt a bit guilty, man. I can't lie. So yeah. Anyway, listen, boys, we're gonna wrap it up there, man. Sorry, man. Big up DM says, big up LB, great win yesterday. We can try Rodri, Nico v Leeds or Brentford in the Carabao Cup. Yeah, you can try him. You can try him soon.
Yeah,
I just think we just need to try him, innit, bro. You know what I mean? Give him a go. Do you try him against Newcastle? That's the big one for me. Like, in an ideal world, I would have liked them both to play, but do you try it? Do you experiment in a game as big as Newcastle away? In which, if we win that, that's a fucking big win. Going there for me, like that's why when Arsenal won there, I was like, big fucking win that. It's a difficult place to play. Kevin De Bruyne said it's the hardest place to play the Premier League, Newcastle. So I don't know.
Be up for it.
Yeah. I think Leverkusen is the game that I give it a go, man. But
I think so because there's less stakes in a Champions League phase game, and Leverkusen have been a little bit stinky in relative terms this season. So that's probably a good place to trial it.
Yeah. And you think I'm saying we need 7 more points, right? So even if you drew the game, you just need 2 wins in your last 3, and you play Galatasaray and Bordeaux as well. So
yeah, I expect us to win.
Yeah, no, I do as well. And the way Real Madrid are playing, look, we win our next 2 Champions League games as well. We can rest players in the last 2 games. Which will be nice,
Yeah, that's a nice luxury.
Nice luxury. Yeah, maybe Trafford will finally get some minutes as well. So yeah. Anyway, right, it's time to go on Saeed's channel, man. I'm only one of 2 people on the panel show today that have actually won the match, me and Don. So me and Don won't be going at each other for once. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you get over there. Nobbins, you live later?
Not live later, but I've got a post-match analysis video where I'll be exploring in more detail the win from yesterday.
Ooh, that's a must watch, man. That's a must watch, chat. Make sure you guys are checking that out. What time's that out?
I haven't recorded it yet, so I don't know.
Oh.
It'll be this afternoon / early evening. That's when it will be. So I'd guess around 5-ish. I'd say, but I need to rewatch the game and then make the video accordingly.
Yeah, there we go. Make sure you guys are getting on that, man. It's a must watch. You know what I mean? Like you've all watched the videos where Nobbins has been explaining why we're so shit. Now it's time to watch it to explain it why we're so good. So guys, check it out. Big up running again. Says feel we are not ready to let Silva go. Thoughts. I would just be very wary about hanging on to players for too long.
Yeah,
I think, come to the end of the season, his contract's up. I think we should move him on at the end of the year and go. You could have moved him on this summer, but I think let's get to the end of the season. He's out of contract. Let him go back to Benfica, do his thing, and let's go back into the market. Yeah, we don't want to be getting in this situation because, by the way, he's not going to accept a 1-year contract extension. So if you're going to give him a contract, it's going to be minimum 2. He's probably going to be asking for a 3-year contract extension. Are you willing to give him a 3-year contract extension?
It's hard, isn't it? It's performances like yesterday make me doubt myself, but yeah, 3 years would be too much. If he could somehow be convinced to a cheeky 1 year, I might actually be up for that. But it's a hard one. I still think he's a very irreplaceable player. I don't know how we move on from him properly.
Elliot Anderson.
I like Anderson, but
that's a video idea.
He's no Bernard.
Potential Bernardo Silva replacements.
Yeah. I'll look at that in the summer, I think, because who knows? Maybe we'll give him a cheeky extension. You never know.
Elliot Anderson's a good player, man.
I know he is, but he's not Bernard.
It's not Bernard Ike. Right. Big up to you guys, man. Listen, have a good week, boys, yeah? I'm live tonight, by the way, 7 p.m. Me and Hugh are going to dissect it. He was at the game as well yesterday, man. So make sure you come back at 7. Nobbins channel at 5, 6-ish for the post-match tactical breakdown. I'm going over to Saeed. I'll catch you next one. Have a good week, guys.